Hi everyone, welcome to The Mind of a Model. I'm your host, LaTonia Robinson plus model. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Today's vlog is going to be a little something different. You know, I started this vlog as a way to express myself, share my thoughts, and basically to just talk to you. So I'm just going to talk to you. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And you know, some things have happened over the past few weeks that has brought up this subject, so I figure why not talk about it when people ask me questions. This is the perfect platform for me to be able to share with you my thoughts, advice, tips, yada 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 yada. So today's topic is something, I wouldn't say that I'm caught up in my feelings, but definitely something that all models should know, and even designers as well. It's called giving credit where credit is due. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to give credit to people who take photos, do your makeup, also a little bit of intellectual property. We're going to talk just the basics, but just so that you have an idea of what's going on, what you should do, and what you shouldn't do. Sometimes things move so fast that it's hard to give credit where credit is due because you just want to put the information out there. You just want to get the video up, you want to get the picture out, and you forget to thank those who helped you to reach that point. Now, I'm going to speak from the perspective of a model because that's where I'm sharing my experience from today. However, don't get it twisted. I do wear many hats. So, as a model, you've been in a show, somebody's taking a picture of you. Now, you get the picture, and what do? Well, if someone took the picture, say Bill Ford or Bill Curry or whoever took the picture, you want to make sure that you thank Bill Curry for taking the picture. You don't want to cut them out completely because that's not what you want to do. So make sure you put the photo credit in the bottom and put the credit to the makeup artist in the bottom, maybe the stylist. You want to credit the people who have helped you to reach your level of fabulousness, okay? Second off, when it comes to photography, you don't want to edit the photos. You want to use them as is because now you're messing with the photographer's work and you don't want to do that. A lot of photographers are nice and they're willing to allow you to use their photos. Sometimes it's just as simple as asking them, can I use the photo, and you know, getting the yes or no from them. Sometimes they expect that to happen. You never know when it comes to a photographer. I've even worked with photographers who have asked to get paid to use the photos that they took of you while you were on the runway, which I find to be really weird, seeing as you wouldn't have a picture if I wasn't on the runway. So can we just work together? But some people, you know, they say that it costs them money for their camera, for their equipment, the time that they spend editing, and they're looking to recoup some of the expenses that they put out, which I understand. But you know, sometimes things can get a little nasty. So if you know of a photographer and that's the way they work and they operate, maybe you don't want to use their photos, or if you decide to use their photos, get their permission, find out what the cost is to actually purchase the photos straight out so that you don't have no problems, because people will report you. They might get your page shut down, and you don't really want to go through all of that if you don't have to. And if you don't want to work with that photographer, you don't have to. Usually there's tons of them sitting in the pit. You just have to try to track down those photos. We're going to talk about research. Research is something that's very easy to do. Thank you to the internet. If you have a question about anything, nowadays you really don't have to ask somebody personal, but you could just go online and Google whatever it is that you're looking to find out. So if you're not sure how to give people their credit, how to cite the work, all rights reserved when you see that, or that copyright symbol, the C with the circle around it, just look it up on the internet so you can figure out how to, you know, give the credit correctly. But research is your friend. Don't be afraid to just put in some keywords and just start reading. You know, sometimes you can't actually ask somebody, and somebody might not have the time that you want to stop and talk to you and give you that one-on-one advice that you want. Some people would rather get paid. But right now, I'm just going to give you some free advice. So just research. It's free and available to you, and it doesn't hurt anybody. Alright, so this is that personal portion of the vlog where I guess I just get really personal and intimate with you, and it's not about getting all caught up in my feelings, but business is business, and I'm going to keep it real. So if you find video online, or if you've been featured in something online and you have access to the person who created the video, the least you could do is ask them, hey, can I use this video? I'd like to promote my brand. Can I use it? The worst they're going to say is no. More than likely they will say yes, and they'll give you some stipulations like, give me credit for my work. How about you adding some links to my page so that people know how to find me for future things? And that's really a good trade-off, and it doesn't hurt anybody, but you know, you shouldn't just automatically take it upon yourself and just snatch something and repost it as if it's your own, because it's not. Somebody can report you, you might receive a cease and desist letter, you know, things may get nasty, and then people say you're getting all caught up in your feelings, but it's just the proper way of doing business. And if you don't know, like I said again, do a little research. Sometimes you can also get caught up in a legal action, which means that they're going to ask for you to pay for the damages that they've incurred because of whatever it is that you may have done. You can't take the head off of this picture and put it onto that body. You can't use a model's picture that you don't even know this model. You just went online, found this image, decided to use it and put it up on a flyer. You can't do that. You have to get permission. You know, not everybody does business via Facebook either, so sometimes you actually have to send a real email. That's the right way to do business. You might be able to make initial contact on Facebook, but if you do a little bit more research, you should be able to find their email or ask them for their email and then send a written request to their email so that they have records and that you have records and you can talk about everything you need to talk about via email. Facebook is basically, it's Facebook, but it's not how you really conduct business, and not everybody's going to respond to you just because you reached out on Facebook. Some people live on Facebook or social media and a lot of people don't. You probably have a more success rate if you just inbox somebody versus sending them an instant message, because there's so much to go through on social media, and they're two different mediums and two different ways to reach out to talk to people. But usually the best way is through an email. Take the time, collect your thoughts, send an email, and wait for a return response. So earlier I talked a little bit about intellectual property. You know that famous line where Missy goes, copywritten, so don't copyright, copyright, so don't copyright me, or copywritten, so don't copyright me. Either way, okay, rap is not my best subject. Nonetheless, the point is that you can't steal somebody else's work. It's called intellectual property, and most people have their work copywritten, and people just think that they could just rip off your idea or do something similar to it. You can't take your fashion week that's been designed after somebody else's fashion week and add 2 extra letters and think that you're doing something different. No, that's trademark infringement. You can't do that. Pepsi has a logo that's Pepsi. You can't change the colors and think that it's still not going to look like Pepsi. There's rules to the game, and you need to learn the rules to the game. I'm not here to enlighten you about all of that. You need to do your own research, but I'm just putting you on with the basics, basically. So just keep that in mind when you decide to do something and you know you're not the owner of the work. Think about exactly what it is that you're doing. And I know it's not like we're trying to save lives right now. I'm definitely not trying to save no life. Well, that is if you don't need me to send 5 goons to take care of the problem for me. But, you know, you really don't care about it until it happens to you, and it has happened to me. Thus, why there's a watermark right there, so that, you know, you can't steal my work. Not gonna let that happen again if I can avoid it. So, you know, just be cautious of what it is that you're doing. You know, you don't want to have anybody steal your work. You worked hard for it, and vice versa. So don't take somebody else's work without giving them credit, and don't steal other people's work. Just don't do that. It's not nice. Just really not nice. Again, thank you for watching The Mind of a Model. This is just a way for me to talk with you. This is the Let's Talk segment, and today we're talking about, you know, giving credit where credit is due. Hope you're not caught up in your feelings, but I hope that I was able to enlighten you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, The Mind of a Model. Check me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, at The Mind of a Model. Make sure to share this video with friends, because I do like having more friends. And until then, next time, live your life out loud and be the best you that you can possibly be. Bye.